Great leaders understand that thriving communities come from protecting the health, safety, and well-being of both their employees and residents. This month, ICMA is recognizing the vital role that local government leaders play in championing mental health initiatives for the betterment of their organizations and communities. Joining us for today's Member Spotlight is a leader who is doing just that, Justin Battles, Assistant City Manager of Mustang, Oklahoma. Like many of us in the local government space, Justin found himself depressed and questioning public services' impact on his own mental health throughout the pandemic. While taking a deeper look into some of these issues that caused these feelings, Justin discovered that local governments, even the one he worked for, did not adequately address the impact of mental health and its vital role in building more positive, resilient, and vibrant organizations and communities. With that realization, his journey to tackle community-wide mental health from the inside out began. Thanks so much for stopping by today, Justin.
Hey, thanks so much for having me.
This topic is one that definitely hits close to home for many of us, so we appreciate you taking the time to speak with us today. But before we dive further into that, let's get to know you and your career a little better. Can you share what the highlight of your career has been thus far?
The highlight of my career over the 20 years is Mustang has seen substantial growth. We've doubled essentially in our population, and it's being able to keep that small town feel with the bigger town amenities and understanding that connection to not only our employees, but most importantly, our citizens and the importance of that, and being able to empower them through the processes of growth and all the growing pains that come with that. It has been vital.
Coming from a very small town myself, I can say that having that more intimate sense of community is very important. And I'm glad you've been able to maintain that small town feel while also experiencing some growth. So that's great to hear. And on the other hand, can you describe a challenge you faced in your career and how you were able to overcome it?
Sure, absolutely. I think with that growth, and something we all face in the government world is really the dynamics of local government and how elected officials can change. And essentially, sometimes they want priorities to change. And so you may come up with an overall short and long-term plan that is feasible. And then before you know it, newly elected officials want to change that. And one way that we've overcame that here in Mustang is just by education. By basing the short and long-term strategic plans on data, on real information. And then the other side of that is educating the community, including them in that development of those plans, making sure they're informed of where we're at in those processes and the overall health of our city. And that's really helped facilitate smooth transition to newly elected officials because they're not coming in with an idea that we want to change where we're headed. Ultimately, they're a part of the process before they ever run for office. And that's really been effective here in Mustang.
And speaking of challenges, today we're highlighting the importance of prioritizing mental health in the local government space so that local government employees and residents alike can experience a better overall sense of well-being. Justin, what tools and resources have you found most helpful in making a more positive impact on the mental health of your organization and community as a whole?
We were looking for resources that really could have a direct impact straight to the individual, whether that be an employee and or citizen. And we began utilizing Cope Notes, which ICMA promotes. It's a daily text message, provides peer support and positive psychology directly to their phone on a daily basis. And those range from different times. And we found that it's generated some good conversation, specifically among staff as well. Just being able to sit down at the lunch table and say, "Hey, did you get that message today?" And really dive into the psychological aspects of our daily lives. ICMA's done an excellent job, kind of leading us how to have that conversation in our community to take that stigma away and begin to understand that the well-being of our citizens is vast importance, and that's not limited to the infrastructure. That's limited to how government can impact their day-to-day life, and those resources are very accessible, that they're not having to go out of their way.
Yes, destigmatizing the topic and normalizing conversations surrounding mental health is such an important step, but it sounds like your organization is really taking a more multi-pronged approach, which is definitely better than doing a one-size-fits-all to address community-wide mental health care. So that's really great to hear. And that answer definitely provided some great pieces of advice in and of itself. But can you share some additional pieces of advice for local government leaders who are looking for ways to make a more meaningful impact on the mental health of their communities?
So the advice I would give them is don't be afraid to ask your peers, ask those questions. Look for resources in your community. I think you'll be surprised at some of the resources that may be there. That could include partnering with a counseling organization, or even providing positive events, things to come out and try to push people to come plant a tree. The impacts that's shown on getting outside and having that sunshine and that positive vibe, and what it will do. So I think that the best advice I could give is just begin the conversation one small piece at a time and watch it build.
And Justin, as an active ICMA member, what added value have you experienced from being involved in this association?
Yes. So as you hit on in the opening, throughout your career, you hit these peaks and valleys, and there's times I found myself in the middle of the pandemic, just really in a depressive state, and you begin to look at your why. Why am I doing what I do? And because this is a difficult job. It's obviously very rewarding, but there's those things that come with it. And through that journey of my own life, I was on the ICMA website and I began to find articles and talk and realize I'm not the only one going through this during this time, or even throughout your career. Some of us don't need a pandemic to kind of be overwhelmed with what's going on in today's world. So ICMA has provided me not only the resources that you promote through the organization. The peer-to-peer contact is fantastic. Just being able to sit down and talk with other local leaders and understand the issues that they got. And ICMA's continued commitment really to addressing the issues within our community, including the mental health and well-being. It's provided us just such an outlet when we realize we're not on an island. We have other people within our organization.
Justin, you are really taking the reins with mental health and helping improve your community and truly giving it the attention it deserves. And I have no doubt that your community and organization are both better for it. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Jesse.
You can look to ICMA's Mental Health Resource Hub as well as ICMA's Cope Notes information page to learn more about better serving the mental health care needs of your organization and community. You can also subscribe to ICMA's Voices in Local Government podcast to catch an upcoming episode on mental health with Cope Notes founder and CEO Johnny Crowder, which will include free Cope Notes subscription giveaways, so you definitely don't want to miss that. Those resources will all be linked in the description below, and to view more member spotlights, be sure to subscribe to our channel.